I don't honestly know what happened.
Okay.
I was in bed asleep.
Even though I know that it's a suspicion.
Okay.
Wettlaufer attacked a 15th elderly patient.
Former nurse accused of killing 8 seniors in her care in southwestern Ontario is expected to plead guilty at her court appearance tomorrow.
I felt horrible. I felt angry at myself. I felt like I had failed myself. I felt like God had failed me.
Psychopath killers who pretended to be victims and got caught. Have you ever wondered how some killers try to hide their crimes by pretending to be victims? It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Today, we're going to explore the stories of psychopaths who committed terrible acts and then tried to fool everyone. Get ready for a journey into the minds of these twisted individuals as we uncover how they were finally caught. These stories will make you think twice about what you see and hear and show you how important it is to look beyond the surface. In this video, we'll delve deep into 2 shocking cases that rocked communities and left investigators baffled. We'll examine the psychology behind these crimes, the red flags that were missed, and the relentless pursuit of justice that ultimately brought these killers to account. By the end of this video, you'll have a new perspective on the complexities of criminal investigations and the dark depths of human nature. The Samantha Woolford case. The story of Samantha Woolford is a chilling reminder of how far some individuals are willing to go to manipulate the narrative in their favor. Samantha, a mother of 5, was not your average suspect. She presented herself as a devoted wife and mother who was horrified by a violent home invasion. On February 20, 2015, Samantha claimed that 3 masked men had broken into her home, tied her up, and attacked her husband, Ernie. At first, the story seemed like a tragic home invasion. The details she provided were vivid and disturbing, painting a picture of a woman caught in the middle of a nightmare. However, beneath the surface of her seemingly convincing story lay inconsistencies and contradictions. The deeper investigators dug, the more they uncovered a tangled web of deceit. Samantha had harbored ambitions of becoming a YouTube star, and her dreams of fame were starting to take over her life. She began to see her husband and her current situation as obstacles to her success. The more she pursued her online aspirations, the more strained her relationship with Ernie became. The initial response. When the police first arrived at the scene, they found Samantha in a state of apparent distress. Body cam footage from that night captured her looking shaken and upset, recounting the events with an unusual level of detail. The vividness of her descriptions initially garnered sympathy from both the officers and the public. It seemed plausible that Samantha, a mother of 5, was just another victim of a terrifying crime. Her account of the masked men and the terrifying ordeal she described played into this narrative. The community and the media were quick to rally around her, casting her as a brave survivor of a heinous attack. However, seasoned investigators knew that things were not always what they seemed. As they began to peel back the layers of Samantha's story, they noticed things that didn't quite add up. Victims of traumatic events often struggle to recall specific details due to the shock and stress of the situation. Samantha, however, seemed to have a remarkably clear and composed recollection of the events. Her ability to provide such detailed descriptions raised the first of many red flags. Moreover, her behavior didn't entirely align with that of a typical victim. Instead of focusing solely on the trauma she had allegedly endured, she seemed eager to recount the incident with a level of detachment that puzzled the investigators. It was as if she was performing a role, playing to an audience that existed both in her mind and on her YouTube channel. This peculiar behavior only deepened the investigators' suspicions, prompting them to take a closer look at the evidence. The inconsistencies begin to emerge. As the investigation progressed, more inconsistencies in Samantha's account started to surface. One of the most glaring issues was the lack of physical evidence to support her story. If 3 masked men had indeed broken into her home, tied her up, and assaulted her husband, there should have been signs of a struggle or forced entry. Yet, the crime scene appeared strangely undisturbed. The absence of any signs of forced entry or struggle contradicted Samantha's narrative, raising further doubts about her version of events. Samantha's detailed descriptions of the intruder's behavior also seemed contrived. She claimed that the masked men had taken the time to berate her husband about his relationship with her, which seemed highly unlikely for intruders in the middle of a violent crime. This bizarre detail struck investigators as implausible, suggesting that Samantha was attempting to weave a narrative that would cast her in a sympathetic light while simultaneously painting her husband as an unsympathetic figure. Furthermore, Samantha's decision to call her mother before calling 911 added another layer of suspicion. In a genuine emergency, a victim's first instinct would typically be to call for help. The fact that she chose to call her mother first suggested that her priorities were not aligned with those of a typical victim. This unusual behavior, combined with the lack of evidence at the scene, led investigators to believe that Samantha's story was not entirely truthful. Background of Samantha and Ernie's relationship. To understand the complexities of this case, it is essential to examine the relationship between Samantha and Ernie. On the surface, they appeared to be a typical young couple navigating the challenges of raising a large family.